So tell me what your life was like before you came to know Christ.
I've told other people this testimony before, and for me, I don't have a traditional testimonies because I've never known life without Christ. My very first memories as a child that I can remember was it was a statue, an image of a man staring back at me. He had a crown of thorns on his head, blood dripping from his hands, and then his feet were they were bound together with a railroad spike. And it can be traumatizing as a kid, and yet there was something comforting about that. But I've always known him as Jesus Christ, the Son of God. And all I ever wanted to do was serve Christ. I've shared with folks that my dad was murdered when I was really young. And so during that time, growing up without a father, I looked for a dad. I looked actually for the love and security and the acceptance that, only a dad can provide. And so I just kind of searched for something to fill that void. And it was, of course, in the wrong places. And so the men in my life actually misused me, abused me. And I think to fill the void of all of that, or the pain of that, actually to numb the pain, I became a substance user. And I guess then that would be my life before Christ.
So how did you come to know Christ?
Well, see, in my mind, I always thought I knew him. I honestly thought that being raised in the church, that I knew him. I didn't really know him because I had this on and off relationship with him because of the substance abuse and just the wrong type of living. So through all of that, there was always a fear of hell. Growing up Catholic, there's such a thing as penance. So I would punish myself in a way where I thought I was making myself right with God. And that lifestyle just got away from me. And then one day, my grandmother passed away. She was actually the woman who raised me. And I remember sitting on the kitchen floor crying, thinking, I will never see her or my dad again if I don't get my life right. So there was more of a fear of going to hell than the right living, having a right relationship with God. So I did surrender my life to Christ because I couldn't break the addiction in my own strength. And I just felt like I'd wasted so much of my life that I was giving him now my leftovers. And there was just so much shame and guilt to that. And then one day, all of a sudden, it was like the Lord played this video, a montage, like a little movie montage in my mind. And yet, as it was happening in my mind, he was actually transforming my heart. So the first thing I saw was these women, and the Lord was more biblical women. He was more specific with the women that he chose. The first was a woman who dressed up like a prostitute to deceive her father-in-law. Then the second woman that I saw was actually a prostitute who rescued two Hebrew spies. And then the third woman that I saw was a young foreign woman, and she left behind the life that she knew and followed her mother-in-law's God. Second to the last woman, it was a woman who had an affair with her king. And then she became a widow after he had her husband killed. And then lastly was a teenage virgin who gave birth to the Savior. And the Lord spoke to me, and he said, these are my mothers. So all this shame and this guilt that I was feeling for having wasted, it really wasn't a waste at all. And then remember this grace just pouring over me. Kind of like a healing balm, just healed my mind or transformed my mind, and it healed my heart. And that to me was the day that I saw grace as a person, the person of Christ, and I also saw God rightly as not having wasted this life, but being, a beloved daughter.